today. I think that we're just about ready whenever the director of the show lets us know that we're ready to get rocking and rolling. This will be recorded, so I just wanted to let you guys know that if you want to have your cameras off or whatever. But we're excited. So I'm just looking forward to the action sign. Let me know. Okay, great. Well, hey, everybody. My name is Dr. Herring, Dr. Chuck Herring, and I am just so honored to be here today, this special occasion. We are here to celebrate the students of Shout, Social Handprints Overcoming Unjust Treatment. The kids have done something remarkable. They have actually written, produced, and published their first novel. Took them about 4 months to write, about another month and a half to get everything formatted correctly, and it is published. So 6 months from soup to nuts to have this. So I just want to give them a major round of applause. I'm just so excited for them. Thank you so much for being here. And now, I was told to say we're doing an icebreaker today. And so the icebreaker is, and I want you guys to think about this yourselves. The icebreaker is, if you were a vending machine, what exactly would you vend? What would you vend if you were a vending machine? So I'm going to tell you right now, if I was a vending machine, the only thing that I'm vending right now are Shout books. So everybody would come to my vending machine, and the only thing they could get out of there would be these books. So now what I'm going to do is just say, I want to just give a couple of thank yous. I want to thank the Green Building Alliance for providing us with the background, with the ability to learn how to actually do these events, because they are just professionals at it. So I just want to thank them for allowing us to use their Zoom and their expertise. I want to thank the South Fayette Township School District, the school board, and all of the administrators for providing us with the opportunity to have this organization to be able to start this. I want to thank all of the Shout chapters that we have in the various places. I don't want to name them because I'll probably miss one and people will be mad at me. So I'm just going to say all of the Shout chapters that we have, Western Pennsylvania and across the state. I just want to thank you guys as well. And I want to thank all of you here on the call for supporting our students and being so generous with your time tonight. So that's enough of me. I know you guys aren't here to hear me. You're here to hear the kids. So I'm going to turn it over to one of my favorites, one of the young ladies who came on board and just hit the ground running with our organization, only in the 9th grade, but she is a published author. So I'm going to turn this over right now to one of your hosts for the evening, Miss Sarah Kornacki.
Thanks. So, hi everyone. Before I begin speaking, I'm just going to ask that all of the audience members, would you please turn off your cameras just so it's easier to see who is speaking when. Now, since we are doing host introductions, for all hosts, please introduce yourself by your name, grade, and our icebreaker is, if you were a vending machine, what would you give? And honestly, I'm in 9th grade, and I would think I would give maybe just good advice. I feel like we need a lot of good advice and good vibes, so I think that's what I would give. So now I'm going to turn it over to Emma.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emma Nave, and I'm a freshman at South Fayette as well. And if I were a vending machine, I think I would vend COVID vaccines because I'm about up to here with it. I'm about done. I'll turn it over to Maureen now.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marina Wan, and I'm in 12th grade. So if I was a vending machine, I would give the people in need the items to stay safe, happy, and healthy, and everything would be free, obviously. All right, so I'm going to tell you all about the history of Shout, like when and how it began. So Shout was started in 2019. It was started by Yamini Yapuri and her friend Bearfin Bearcon, but we like to call her Snow. So Yamini and Snow started talking to members of South Fayette and talked about diversity, inclusion, and equity. They talked about it to the school, and the school sent them to Dr. Herring. After that, Yamini Snow and Dr. Herring started to recruit other founding members. If I remember right, there were 8 founding members. You know, this amazing club began with just a few people, but now it's this family. And, you know, the Shout family is only getting bigger and bigger. We have come so far. It's incredible and so awesome. Now I will tell you about Shout's first big event. Shout's first event was the Handprint Footprints event. This was where Shout encouraged students to paint their hand, the paint-covered hand onto the windows in the hallways, symbolizing a handprint. A handprint is an intentional act that offsets the harm caused by a footprint. And a footprint is an act that intentionally or unintentionally causes harm. The Handprint Seal Footprints event was to help create a school culture in support of equality for all students, faculty, and staff. And now I will give it over to Sarah to discuss why we wrote the book. But before I give it over, again, I just want to say thank you for all joining and celebrating this amazing achievement with us tonight.
All right, so I'm going to be talking about why we wrote the book. And, you know, a lot of people say they want to write a book and put it out there, but they don't know why. But we wrote this book because we knew we wanted to make a change. We know that being a young adult in this world is a hard role to fill. Yet each member knows what they want. We choose love over hate and peace over violence. We stand for change and equality, and this book stands for everything we represent: acceptance, diversity, inclusivity, and equality. We wrote this to inspire others to stand up for their beliefs and shout. Now, I also want to let everyone know that we have a form to fill out. So should you want a copy of the book, it is super easy, and the only required questions are your name and email address so we can get in touch with you. And now I'm going to have Mia put the book order link in the chat for anyone who's interested about it. So thank you.
All right, so while Mia does that, we are going to transition over to some readings of excerpts from the book. So first off, I will go to Zach. I'll hand the mic off to him.
All right, thank you very much, Emma. So before we start, can everybody hear and see me? All right, so as we have talked about already, we are Shout. We have wrote this book right here, and it's an absolutely incredible book. And what we'll be doing is that we'll be reading a few of parts of our chapters to everyone. And looking through this book and looking at the 2 chapters that I wrote, I would like to share with you all a part of my chapter called Black Smog. As a junior in South Fayette High School, this event still, to me, sticks with me. Looking back on the problem now, I wouldn't be surprised if the other kids thought that I was contagious with a disease like the horrible COVID-19 virus. When I went to Mason to ask him why he told everyone, I tried to do it as calmly as possible. I approached him, like I usually did, and asked him, "Why would you tell everyone about my secret?" At that point, he put a footprint on my emotions by laughing at me and calling me names. I was completely blindsided by this. Soon, other kids started teasing me and calling me names. Their words were like black smog that surrounded my body. In essence, no matter where I was in it, I had to eventually inhale it one way or another. It choked me and it suffocated me. Every time I opened their mouths, a little bit of poisonous fog came out until it was filling up my heart, my lungs, and my brain. I was so sure I was going to have a meltdown. But somehow, I didn't. The fog slowly began to go away, but not before another footprint had been dealt to me. I didn't notice it until that night, but all of them left footprints of cruelty all over my body. I was absolutely destroyed by this. And I wanted revenge.
Wonderful words, Zach. Thank you so, so much. Now we're going to hop over to Amelia.
Hi, my name's Amelia Panami. I'm in 8th grade at South Fayette. If I were a vending machine, I would probably vend smiles. And by that I mean like just once you open the machine or you get you get a smile, and who wouldn't want to smile? You know, that's everybody needs to smile more, you know, spreading that kind of happiness. But to read an excerpt from my chapter in the book. Just as much as I knew that my skin color was quite different from my peers, I had to deal with the knowledge that my hair would never be straight like theirs. I envied how easily they could brush through their hair and put it in a ponytail with ease. Meanwhile, my hair was too thick and frizzy. It would take hours to even try to style it. This bothered me oftentimes, but I had to remind myself that it made me special and unique. As years passed, though, I still grew to despise my hair. The fact that most influential Black modern women never wore their hair naturally confirmed my insecurity. I didn't have someone to look up to that had curls like mine. There weren't any Disney princesses that had wild afros or thick braids. I didn't recognize it at the time, but this was my first major footprint of my early life. Being so diffident at a young age, simply because of the lack of representation, really affected my mentality in the coming years. In 2nd grade, I begged my mom to straighten my hair, so much that straightening my hair became a routine. All I wanted was for my hair to be like everyone else's. So every year, from as early as October to late April, I kept my curls straightened, hidden. Soon, a new chapter of my life was approaching. I didn't know if I was ready for it or not. I knew that I wanted change. Not only did I want change in me, but also wanted change in how others saw me. Like goosebumps growing on my arms and hairs raising on the back of my neck, I could sense it coming. The constant uneasiness of not knowing what this change was going to be. It scared me and excited me. I needed change, and in the end, whatever it was, would set me off on the next road in life's yellow wood. Eventually, I realized that my hair had been permanently damaged from straightening it so many times. And this led to me deciding to go for the big chop. I was horrified by the breakage I had caused, and I had made the final decision. Basically, the big chop is all of the hair with irreversible damage being shaved off. The dry and broken strands that were once luscious with life were gone and swept away without hesitation. And that was a pivotal moment in my life, as with my hair and a footprint turning into a hand.
Thank you, Amelia. Very inspiring words, and that's real life. That's very real. Now, I'll pass this one over to Anise.
Hi, my name is Anise Rivera. I'm a 9th grader at South Fayette High School, and I'm just going to be reading a little paragraph from my first chapter. Think about it. Me, Anise Rivera, a rising 9th grader, made a suggestion about having a Black Lives Matter rally to shout, and recent graduate Yamini Puri listened. She heard my thoughts and ideas and took them as inspiration to fill in the gaps that I didn't know with information about what to do, i.e., getting permits, talking to EMTs, talking to the police chief, etc. On June 20th, 2020, the rally happened. There were over 125 people from the community who came out to support our event. They listened as 5 Black students spoke to them about the racism we experienced as students in the district. That made me so proud. And it made me feel better because people actually listened to us. The following is a small segment from my speech that day. I said, Shell wants all people of color in our community to feel accepted and not impacted by any social justice footprints.
Again, that was real life. Thank you very much, Anise. Now, I'll transition over to Samiha.
Hi, my name is Samiha Salim. I am an 8th grader, And if I were to vend things, I would probably vend smoothie bowls. I don't know why, but I think I would. And my chapter is called This Is My Home Too. I was at indoor recess, playing with my friends in the 3rd grade. Note, I did not start wearing my hijab until middle school. One of my classmates mentioned the subject of politics. It wasn't very relevant until she brought up Executive Order 13769, or more commonly known as the Muslim ban. Then she went on a vicious rant about how all Muslims were terrorists and should be kicked out of the country. I was scared, appalled, and angry to think this could even be a law. I immediately thought, how could people like me be denied the right to come in and out of the country as we please? The country that we call home. How could people like me get treated differently than anyone else for practicing a different religion than many of our fellow citizens? Thank you.
Thank you, Samiha. That must have been a very painful thing for you to go through, but I thank you for sharing that. Now I will transition over to the people sharing the testimonials who wrote in the book. My mistake. First off, Jenna Kramer.
Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be here tonight, and I have been just sitting here listening sort of with my eyes closed, and how powerful it is to hear the excerpts of the book. And I was asked to give a little bit of a background about footprints and handprints, but I'm going to keep that really high level and just say that, you know, footprints, it was a concept that was started out of the environmental movement, thinking about carbon footprints and how every action that we take had a negative footprint on the world and on the environment. So the easiest example is when you turn your lights on, you're also having a larger impact on the need to have coal-fired power plants, if that's where your energy is from. And the feeling that with every action we had, if we only had negative impacts, it was just a very sad feeling, and it gave people this sense of hopelessness. And it also detached people from thinking that they could be part of a solution to a better world. And we were having a workshop a few years ago where we had many educators in the room and administrators, and we had Dr. Greg Norris talking to us about carbon footprints. And Dr. Chuck Herring was in the room and raised his hand, and he said, what about social equity handprints as a way of also having a positive impact? If we're talking about how can we reframe a carbon footprint and think about a carbon handprint, about actions that could have a positive impact on the environment, we should be thinking in those same ways about social equity and social equity footprints and social equity handprints. And of course, you know, it only takes a group of very inspired and dedicated and committed individuals like Dr. Chuck Herring and all of you amazing students to turn that idea into something so amazing like Shout. And Shout in and of itself is a beautiful handprint. And, you know, something that I was thinking about is that all of us, you know, every choice that we make, every word that we share, all of our actions, all of our beliefs and our mindsets, all of those things have the potential of having either positive or negative harm in the world. And, you know, we want to feel like we are a force and a power for good. And how can we turn all of our actions and our words and our beliefs and mindsets into handprints and inspire positive change and impact within ourselves, but also with others. And the other beautiful thing about a handprint is that it can create ripple effects of positive impact on many, many people and on the world together. And the handprints that you all are doing, even as a Shout team, has already been doing that by creating many other Shout chapters, by writing a book, by sharing your stories. And it's these beautiful, beautiful handprints. The other thing is when we feel like we can have this positive impact on the world and on other people and the planet, we enter into our thinking and the way that we build relationships and how we show up in life in a different mindset, one that is generous, one that is loving, one that is kind, creative, innovative, excited. And I feel like all of those emotions and the impact that you're having through the Shout work is very, it's something that you can read throughout the entirety of the book. And I'm just very excited to be here for your book launch. And something I was thinking, someone said at the beginning that many people say they want to write books, but they don't always know why. And that you all had such a strong sense of purpose and a strong sense of why. And the ability to write a book and publish it, and the amount of time that you did feels impossible. And one of my favorite quotes is from Nelson Mandela, where he always said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." And I think to myself a lot, you know, many of us think of many things that are impossible, but the power of youth and your vision of what is possible is helping us to all challenge, you know, that anything can be possible, and you're all having such an amazingly positive impact in the world. So thank you. And thanks for letting me be here tonight.
That's great. What kind of vending machine?
My partner, Rob, is reminding me to answer the vending machine, but I don't think I was supposed to. But I would say I would just hand out hearts and love right now. I think that's what we need.
Yes, you are supposed to be a vending machine.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jenna Kramer, which I failed to mention at first that she is actually the executive director at the Green Building Alliance. That is definitely something that I should have remembered to mention, but if I can say it right this time. Next, Dr. Clyde Pickett, Vice Chancellor of Equity and Inclusion at the University of Pittsburgh.
Good evening. Good evening. It's great to be with you. Excited about all of the energy, and certainly want to extend my kudos. It's an honor and privilege to be with you, and the honor, of course, to learn and to listen and continue to engage. I guess I'll begin with the vending machine question too. Dr. Herring would get on me if I didn't answer that. So I'd say if I were a vending machine, I would vend hope. And I can tell you unequivocally that the book has seeded great hope in me. So I'll begin with that. You know, as we think about this, I wish to extend congratulations to the students of Shout, to Dr. Herring, for bringing this resource to our community, and more importantly, to bringing it to educators all around the world. Tonight is a reminder of the brilliance of our students and what can come if we invest in them and provide an opportunity for them to share their talents and to think about support for them. So certainly want to say that. And now more than ever, it's critical for us to prioritize and bring our efforts together to use our handprints to enact change, just as you remind us in the book. So what you have shared, your creativity, your commitment to raise your pens, to raise your voices as tools to make change, are all the difference that we need to continue to impact the work that we do around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And what you've crafted and what you've put together, you remind us that each of us in our own way can use our handprints to build community and to really replace the negative experiences and the footprints that are there. So whatever we may be confronted with, whether it's racism, xenophobia, Islamophobia, or other ills, we can make the change. And certainly the work that you've started, the book that you've put together, and your work as students of Shout are phenomenal. So congratulations to you. Thank you for putting this together. And I'll remind you that your work isn't done. As you continue to advance your education, know that you have an opportunity to do so at fine institutions all around the country. And I have to mention that we want you at the University of Pittsburgh. So hail to Pitt, and we'd like to see you there. Congratulations.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Pickett. And now on to Ms. Latricia Hill Chandler, Diversity and Inclusion Officer at Arvest Bank.
Hello and good evening. Thank you for allowing me to say a few remarks to these remarkable students. You are amazing. I do this work every single day, and I know how sometimes the conversations become uncomfortable, even when you've been doing it so long. So to have you students talk about your stories in your own way not only gives me hope, I hope that it gives everyone on the call hope, and you are absolutely amazing. You know, I got to meet all of you individually, and I can truly say that the passion that you have to demonstrate and to share your stories, the bravery, because it takes a lot of courage to speak on the stories that you shared. Continue to do that. Like, you have touched me tremendously in more ways than one. My vending machine, I would vend hugs right now. With COVID happening, we have not been able to hug people the way that I like to hug people. And so, and that just means I like hugging everybody. I like hugging differences. I greet people with hugs. And so if I could vend hugs, I would be hugging everybody on this call right now. So that's what I would vend. And I like to leave you with a quote. You know, we just celebrated Dr. King, the legacy of Dr. King just this week. So I would definitely leave you with this. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, students, and I mean whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Okay, so don't stop, don't quit. Keep moving forward. Thank you for allowing me to share with you in this. I am delighted, and I wish you much success for the rest of this year and many book sales, many book sales. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Ms. Hill Chandler. Now, do we know if Ms. Reynolds is on the call? Ms. Deona Reynolds? Let me check. I'm sorry, I was told in the beginning that...
I don't believe that she's on the call.
Okay, thank you for that.
I don't believe that Ms. Dunkley is on the call either.
All right, perfect. So then we will just transition into Q&A. You can direct your questions toward the chat. And yeah, that is it.
Hi, my name's Mia. I'll be reading all your questions from the chat. Please drop any of your questions in the chat. Our first question is from Ellen Conrad. To the people that read the excerpts, tell us a little bit about why you joined Shout.
So I guess I'll go first. I joined Shout because I wanted to see change. And the only way to see change happen is to start changing. And I guess that's what happened when I joined Shout. I think I was in the 7th grade, and so it was just last year. And I really didn't think we could go this far. Like, I didn't think we could write an entire book and publish it. But here we are, and we've done so much more, and I'm so proud of us for that.
Thank you, Samiha. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say? Zach?
So there are two reasons why I decided to get involved with Shout. But the one that I would like to talk about real quickly is that I want to try something. So if possible, would everyone be able to quickly turn their cameras on and raise their hand if it's a yes to this question? Has anyone ever felt the pain of discrimination, hatred, or bullying before? If yes, then raise your hand. Now take a look at all of the look at all the other people. Look at all these hands raised. Shout is an organization about diversity, equity, inclusion, and acceptance for all. We bring in people from all different kinds of cultures, races, religions, mentally and physically unique traits. And there are so many things that we have in common that you wouldn't think at first. And one of those things are that we've all felt pain from discrimination, hatred, and bullying. But that hand that you raised up is actually a superpower, because Shout talks a lot about handprints and footprints, a footprint being an act that causes harm to someone. We've all been hit by footprints, acts that hurt us, whether it be intentional or unintentional. But these handprints right here, they help. They heal the damage done by footprints. And so one of the things that I thought of when joining Shout was that we can all do this. We can give a handprint to someone. That person will give a handprint to two people. Those two people, I'm not good at math, but those two people will give handprints to three people each. And then you save one person's day, you save everyone's day. You save a day, you're a superhero. That's what Shout does. Saves the day and asks and encourages others to do the same. That's why I wanted to join, because I wanted to show that there is good. Handprints. You do that, goodness comes from it. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to bring goodness. And that's something that I wanted to do as well.
That was amazing, Zach. In Shout, we have this thing where we do a money clap, and I think that definitely deserves a money clap. That was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. One of the questions that caught my eye here was from the Uridi family. Has the process of writing about the footprints and handprints in your life changed how you view the footprint? My apologies, the footprint. Would anybody like to answer that question?
Just to make sure that I understand the question, may you please repeat it again? My apologies.
Yeah, sure. Hang on, I gotta scroll.
No
Has the process of writing about the footprints and handprints in your life changed how you view the footprint?
So have using the words handprints and footprints changed how we view handprints and footprints?
I think what the question is trying to ask is, how has writing about the handprints placed on your footprints changed the view on your footprints?
So, good question. So how has writing about the handprints changed the view of the footprints? So I think that when it comes to writing about handprints and footprints, I mean, there are many words to describe good acts and kind acts and bad acts and negative acts, but really writing about these handprints and writing about what we can do to change the world has actually made a lot of people, especially the writers of the Shout book, realize that we can do so much more than we think. I mean, we have freshmen talking to senators and representative members. We have freshmen talking to government members. So when we write about our stories of feeling footprints, but also how handprints can change our lives, I think it helped us realize that there's so much that we can do, so much good and so much change we can bring. I hope that answered the question to anyone who asked.
Yeah.
Can I just interject really quickly? I don't mean to step on you right now, Samiha, but I do want to say something because Zach said something that just resonated. We actually have senator on the call. We have Senator Lindsey Williams on this call right now. So I want to just open it up so she could just wave and say hi, and then I'll turn it back over to you, Samiha.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm a little late. I got tied up on another meeting, but I'm really happy to be here with you all. And you should all talk to your senators and representatives any chance you get.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to reiterate. The question was that, like, how did writing about handprints change your perspective on footprints? And I just wanted to reiterate the message that footprints, that we realized how powerful a handprint could be, and how putting down a footprint could be. And it's just changed our lives, how we like interpret what we do on a day-to-day basis.
It's wonderful. Thank you both so much for your answers. If Amelia and Anise want to say something about the next couple of questions, that would be awesome. I'd love to hear their perspective. Our next question is, what was your favorite part about writing and publishing the book?
I can go first. I'd say my favorite part about writing and publishing the book was seeing how a lot of us came together and agreed that this was something that, deserved to be heard. And instead of discussions are good, but the idea of being able to just share it with the world all at once, I think was amazing. And the fact that we all just agreed on that and did it together and got it done is amazing.
I agree with Amelia that this feeling of getting this book out to everyone who feels like they don't have a voice and we're giving them that voice, it makes me so proud to know that we are starting a new revolution of the world. And I'm just extremely excited to see where this goes.
I love that so much. I love how you included the giving people their voice, because the book title is Raise Your Voice, The Stories of Shout. That was awesome. Our next question for anybody who would like to answer, who's part of Shout here, or anybody who wrote the book, my apologies. Did you instantly know what you wanted to write about? If not, how did you work on the idea?
No, I didn't know what I was going to write about. It took me a while to figure it out, because from reading the other chapters, I had to think of something that was original and related directly to me. And then the more I thought about it, the more I realized, I go through the same thing that hundreds of other people do. And so going through that process of thinking about it and then writing it, it wasn't easy, but in the end, I'm really glad that I did it.
Thank you, Sarah. Does anybody else want to answer the question?
Are we opening the floor to everybody, or is it just the facilitators? Because I can shut up.
Mitch, if you want to say something about your chapter in the book, please feel free to. You're an author too.
That is true. Thank you, Mia. So I actually have to disagree with Sarah. I knew exactly what I was going to have to write about whenever I got, brought on to write a chapter for the book. I guess as public relations director and just doing a ton of emailing, you get asked this question a lot, like, how did you discover Shout? How did Shout discover you? How did you get brought on onto the program, or how did you join the program? And so, really thinking about the narrative behind how did I discover Shout has really been something that I think about often, because, for those that don't know, hold on, there we go. So for those that don't know, I was brought on after the original SDLC was created. And so, every time I think about how I joined Shout, I always think about how many kind of missed opportunities I had. Like, how did I not know about this sooner? And so for me, that was very easy to write about, actually discovering Shout and, putting pen to paper and really writing all of that out.
Thank you, Mitch. Just for time's sake, we're going to move on to the next question. What do you want people to learn from the book?
I mean, I think there are many different lessons that you could learn from the book. There's really not just one, but the main message that we want to tell most people who read the book is that kind of what we said earlier is that you can bring handprints to anyone you want to bring it to. And when you do, a lot of good comes out of it. Small acts of kindness can save the world. That's what superheroes do. Small acts of kindness, you could say. So that's one of the many messages, and there are many more in the book that relate to many different backgrounds as well. I think everyone can relate to one person who wrote a chapter in a book. So there are many lessons that you could take away, but the main one is that kindness always wins.
I think that what people should take away from this book is hope. The hope that you can change things for the better. Because even if you're on rock bottom, like actually rock bottom, the only way to go is up. So you can always make a change, no matter what. And that's what every single author in this book has written about. And I think that's the one thing that everybody should take away from this, if not more.
Thank you both. That was beautiful. Can we hear from one of our OG members? Yamini, would you like to say something about it?
Thank you for reading my direct message. But I just wanted to add that, I know that Snow and I are younger compared to a lot of the audience we have today at the book launch. But all of these members who are speaking today, all of the Shout members today are so young, but they have such a loud voice and such profound meaning behind it. And it's really hard. I try to imagine myself at that age, being able to write what they did, being able to put their feelings and experiences into words. And I truly cannot imagine myself being able to do that. And you guys are really making a difference. And I'm really, really proud of you guys. And I think that everyone should just take from this is that no matter how old you are, you can make a difference. And that honestly, some of the loudest voices, some of the most important voices are kids your age, teenagers. And you're really using your voice for good. And I think everyone should appreciate that.
Thank you, Yamini. Yes, money clap, money clap, money clap. Pardon me if I'm overstepping my bounds, but I think that you should be proud of yourself for writing this book too, because you are also using your voice. So money clap to you. Next question. I think this one is directed towards Zach and his chapter, but to anybody who had this feeling while writing their book or in any experience while writing the book, how did you handle your desire for revenge?
Ooh. You're going to have to read the book.
That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. Okay. If you want to learn more about Zach and everybody else's story, I guess you're going to have to read the book. One other question we got here was, if you could tell younger students something about Shout, what would it be and why?
I guess I'll take this one because I haven't talked very much at this point in time. I talked a lot before, but not now because I didn't have a part in writing the book. I hopped on the bandwagon a little later. But if I was able to tell any younger kid about Shout and why they should join it, my main thing was you will get so many amazing opportunities if you're in this club. I would have never gotten an opportunity like this to speak in front of an audience. And we're going to have another event next week that's similar to this, but with Pennsylvania people of a government. There's just so many amazing opportunities that can come from this club. And, you know, I've always been a person, I've been in love with government. I love that. So I kind of wanted to get my start here. So to me, that was a big thing.
Is this open to all Shout members?
Go for it.
Okay, so I think that the biggest thing that I would tell the younger students and kids in general is that Shout will give you a friend, because that's really what Shout is all about. It's about connecting to people that you didn't think you could connect with, because down to it, we're all human beings. We experience emotions the same way that others do. And I remember when I was pretty little, all I wanted was a friend. And if I knew that joining Shout would help give me a friend, I would have been on it more than a candy store, all I'm saying. So for younger students, Shout will be a friend to you.
That was beautiful. And I completely agree. When I was little, I definitely wanted a friend. I know we heard from our OG Yam. Can we hear from our other OG Snow?
Yes, thank you. Well, to answer the question about what I would tell younger students that might be thinking about joining Shout, I think that when me and Yam first came together, when Yam first came to me with the idea, I felt like I kind of thought that we were so small, and I felt really young to be starting this whole big thing, and I was so excited. And I feel like sometimes you might not realize how far something like one handprint can go. And just like Emma said before, I feel like when you join Shout, there's so many opportunities and so many ways that you can make a difference. And to take apart from my book, the reason why I joined is that I wanted to be the helping hand that I never had. So I encourage all of you to join the club and help other people, because, there's always going to be people out there that just might be having a bad day and they might be feeling alone. And what you do and your handprint will make a world of difference, even if it might not feel like it at the moment.
I guess advice, I would say Shout's the family that you don't have. And so you guys don't see the behind the scenes, but I remember right before this, I was really, really nervous, and everyone was just telling me, they're like, it's okay. And we're that shoulder that people need. And, being here in a club that's able to do all of this, it's not a club, it's a family. And I think that's what's just so incredible, is that we are a family and we're there for each other. And I know that if I need anything, I can turn to any one of the members and they'll be there for me. So, if you need someone, Shout's there for you.
It was beautiful. Thank you all so much for answering that. Personally, as another member of Shout, I have to agree, you guys are my home away from home, my second family, and I appreciate all of you. Another question that we got was that we love hearing about the advice we give to younger kids about Shout. What advice would you share with adults about Shout?
I think that one thing when it comes to, there are many different questions that adults might have about Shout, but one question that I get asked a lot is Shout just about diversity, equity, and inclusion? And it is about diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as acceptance for all, but it's also a leadership organization. We're not just, I honestly don't like to use the word organization, and I know a lot of people don't like to as well, because we've really become more of a family now. And one thing about this family is that we focus on developing student leaders. As we mentioned earlier, we have freshmen talking to senators and people in the government. We have done so much with so many people. I was the most quiet person in the world a year ago, but now that I'm involved with Shout, I've become very talkative. I'm right here and I'm not nervous about talking to anyone right now because I know that I have a Shout family who supported me, taught me, mentored me, and developed me into a student leader. And that's everyone in Shout. So we don't just focus on increasing diversity, equity, inclusion, and acceptance for all, but we also help students, help young people, the future of this world, become leaders in their state, their nation, and their entire life.
One thing I would say to adults is just to listen. The whole point of our book is to show that kids have a voice and that we're trying to get it out there and get it out to younger kids, teenagers, mid-teens, adults, elders, elderlies, and just trying to show that kids have a voice and we want to help you perfect this world so that as generations go on, the world still continues to be will continue to be a peaceful home for everybody out there, not just adults, not just kids, infants, everyone.
Well, one piece of advice that I would give to adults when asking about Shout is be very careful to not let what we say go in one ear and out the other, because I find that people over the age of 18 have this tendency to just say, oh yeah, look at these kids. They're part of this new generation and they don't know what they're talking about yet. They have so little experience. Well, the thing is, that's wrong. That assumption is completely and utterly wrong. We've been through stuff and we understand things. And, writing this book, that's very evident of that. So just be very careful that, intentionally or unintentionally, please take us seriously. We mean well.
I have to say, I completely agree with all of you. As another student, I do have to say that sometimes it can feel like we get ignored a lot by adults. And I think this book is trying to put out our message and telling adults, hey, we are here. Listen to us. We can help you. So just one question that we want to touch upon really quickly before we get to our last question. Do you think in the future, if not already, introducing handprints, heel footprints, and that message to younger grades and children could be beneficial and or a possibility?
I would say yes, definitely, because as much as a sad truth as it is, racism, sexism, xenophobia, all of the obias and isms that plague our world, these are learned behaviors. And obviously the message of handprints, heel footprints helps to negate these messages. And I feel like if we really want to reach the younger generation, they need to learn these things, these positive handprints, before they learn the footprints. And I think that being able to teach handprints, heel footprints to the younger generation, to these younger students, is definitely going to be the way to go.
I agree with that. And I'd like to answer this question personally, because this is a really important question for me personally. I think that it's a wonderful idea to introduce handprints, heel footprints to younger generations and young kids younger than us. As some of you may know, we have a couple of middle schoolers on the call with us, and it's incredible. Some of our original 8 members were in middle school when they started this. Personally, I think middle school is too, what's the word I'm looking for? It's too late. And what I mean by that is I think we need to start introducing handprints, heel footprints at such a young age so that kids understand that there is goodness in the world, and there can be goodness in the world. We just have to practice it. I just want to share just a little bit of experience. When I was in elementary school, I did not feel terribly at home. But I feel like if I had learned about handprints, heel footprints from my parents or from older kids that I looked up to, I feel like it would have been so much easier to get through elementary, intermediate, middle school, and even now high school. I wish I had learned it sooner. So I feel like introducing handprints, heel footprints to young kids is absolutely beneficial and should be a thing. I hope we start working on it in the future. If nobody else wants to answer that question, we are going to transition here into our very last question. What's an example of a handprint in reaction to a footprint? And I think this can be open to all of our Shout members.
That's hard. Handprint in reaction to a footprint. I mean, in my chapters, my footprint isn't necessarily caused by a singular person. So my handprint isn't towards a singular person. It's more towards anyone and to myself. And so the reaction that you have to have is you have to just think about the positive that's going to come out. You have to think about the future. And like, you never know what somebody's going through when they give you a footprint. So you definitely just have to be kind and think about what other people are going through, because I don't know where I heard this, but I read or listened or watched somewhere that most bullies bully because they've been bullied. And thinking about that and keeping that in mind, you have to realize that, people take out their anger on other people because they don't know where else to go. And so if you are that person who's having those emotions put on you, you got to be strong. You got to take it. And I'm not someone to talk about taking it because I hate being yelled at, but you really have to think about how other people are feeling and what someone else would do in your position.
That's absolutely valid, and I completely agree with that. Amelia, did you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. Just an example of like you said, handprints. Like one example, even in my chapter, I talked about, seeing an African-American actress with like natural hair, like that could totally change. Like even a little kid just seeing someone like that, growing up and seeing or thinking that you had to straighten your hair or it wasn't supposed to look that way. Seeing someone like that, it could totally, brighten your day and change that footprint into a handprint. And I don't know, that's just something that would touch me.
I really like that. I really do. Thank you both for that. Now we will transition into our last question. What do you hope people who read this book will take away from it?
For me, I hope that they can take away the sense of responsibility and raising their voice, and that they can just know that there are people out there for them to help them throughout this whole entire process. That's mostly what I want people to take out.
I want people to take away that you have the potential to do anything you want. You have the potential to make a change, and anything you put your mind to, you can do it. And I think that's what I would want people to take away from the book.
The thing I took away while writing it, and I hope what my readers will take away, our readers, anyone who even picks up the back of the book, I want them to feel a sense of empowerment when they read the words of young kids who have been through some stuff, because we reacted in a way that shows that there is good. And if we can do it, why can't you? So yeah, I hope that anyone who picks up the pages and scans the ink feels empowered when they read it.
One thing that I really want people to take away is you're not alone. I mean, there are some stories that might connect with you, and if they do, people have experiences, students, in fact, that are in 9th, 10th grade, even middle school. So this is just very empowering, and I really hope that you guys learn something from this.
I want everyone to take away a sense of belonging. And the book is all about belonging and finding your place. And, you know, I get that it's really hard to find a place where you belong. But if you even believe in one of the in any of the words that we say, then that means that people care for you and that you do belong, and you're awesome and you mean something to someone. So just keep that in mind.
What I would want people to take away is the importance and the possibility that everyone has. When we ask people to make handprints, we usually tell them to write down on, like, if they're doing it on a piece of paper, what they want their handprint to be. And I think that's what I would want everyone to take away from the book, that you all have the ability to leave a handprint. And I would just want you guys to think about what your handprint could be.
I also think that, just going off of what everyone has said so far, how there are so many lessons we can learn, and how we can learn about handprints, and learning about how even young adults can help change the world, especially in such wild times. I think another thing that would really benefit people to learn when they read the book is that the ability to understand and see so many different ways of life, whether it be through different religions, cultures, sexual orientations, mentally or physically unique traits. The book gives insight and tells stories from people from many different backgrounds. And I think that's really important for people to learn about these many different backgrounds. And that way they can understand people who may not have the same backgrounds as them, but also find similarities with these people, because we've said this a lot already, but we're a lot more similar than we are different. And I think that's another really important thing out of many from the Shout book that people can learn from.
I just wanted to add that I hope that the vulnerability that people see in these chapters will move them to make a change. Not only kids lending out a hand to their friends who are not going through a good time, but also facilitators and school administration, because there are a lot of things that we've written in those books that share how we wish we would have been treated in those moments, how we wish someone would have reached out to us. And I think that that's something that the readers can learn from, like, no matter the age of who is reading.
I hope that what the readers can take away from this collection of stories is that it's not just that. It's not just a collection of stories. It's a collection of experiences and teachings, and the reader, it can soak that information up like a sponge and actually apply that in their daily life. These aren't just cute little stories to be read and then forgotten. This is real life, and I truly hope that whoever reads this, they can actually learn something like this and maybe even change the way they act, the way they treat people, anything along those lines.
Well said. Well said, all of you. That absolutely beautiful. I think that deserves a money clap. Absolutely. Thank you all. I'd like to hand it off to Dr. Herring to say a couple of words before we close out.
First and foremost, I'm not crying. It's just dusty in here. You guys were so awesome. But I want to say Ubuntu, and that's a word that I learned a few months ago, and I understand that it is a Zulu word, and the Zulu word is not just a word; it's more of a way of life. It's a philosophy, and Ubuntu just means I am because we are, and that's what Shout is all about. It's about I am successful because we are successful. I am safe because we are safe. I am happy because we are happy. Conversely, I am hurting because we are hurting. So we all, each of us needs all of us. And that's where we get that synergy from. And this week was really an amazing week for a lot of reasons. You know, the first female vice president, just being able to say that for the past 200, almost 50 years, our country has had a seamless transition of power, which has never been done in the history of mankind. But I'm just thinking about what has happened since Martin Luther King Jr. Day and the Shout chapters all over the region. They all came together and promoted handprints from home because we couldn't do it in person because of the COVID-19 virus. I believe it was you, Mia, who came up with the idea of handprints from home. And so we did the handprints from home thing, and it just took off like a rocket. And the kids from Kiski and Fox Chapel and Avonworth and Hampton and Seneca Valley, and I hope I'm not forgetting anyone because I knew I shouldn't have started listing them, but they just started posting things online, and the families and the communities and teachers and people from other parts of the state who don't even have Shout chapters yet, they started doing it, and kids from they saw it on social media and they started putting up, and everybody started buying into the handprints. So that really showed me and us that we are onto something big here, ladies and gentlemen. And we're onto something that we can really, if we can get people to buy into the Handprints Heal Footprints framework, you know, we can really live a life of dignity and respect for all. We're not trying to change people's beliefs. All we want people to do is respect others through their behaviors. That's it. So I'm just really honored and so proud of my kids, and just want to say, you know, I want to give you all the money clap because you guys definitely deserve it. And the money clap is definitely something that we've been doing. You know, I've been doing it with the kids since I've been in South Fayette. And it's just a little thing to say, if you give us something of value, we want to give you a clap that's valuable. And so we just teasingly say, this is the way that wealthy people clap. So we give you the money people clap. So you guys can steal that and use that in any way that you would like. Before we go though, I love the fact that Zach brought this up. We are a social justice club, but really and truly, we're just a leadership organization wrapped inside of a social justice club. All of the kids on this call are leaders. All of the kids on this call can get up here and talk to you for days about what we're doing, about our mission. We have so many things that the kids are doing to show their leadership. As a matter of fact, next week on the 28th, I don't know if we could drop that link. We don't have the link yet, but we'll have it soon. We will have the link to Virtual Harrisburg, and we have a litany of state reps, state senators. We have people from the governor's office. We have people from Senator Toomey's office, Senator Casey's office. We have Connor Lamb possibly going to be there. We have all kinds of people from the AD's office there to listen and to answer all of our questions, to help formulate and frame the PDE's curriculum around diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're coming to our students for that. So that is something that's really exciting. So if you want to be a part of that, that's going to be happening a week from today. Coming up next month for Black History Month, we're doing something super incredible. We have what we call the Divine Nine event. And the Divine Nine is actually Black Greek letter organizations. There are 9 of them. There are 5 fraternities and there are 4 sororities. And really and truly, they aren't Black history. They are just American history. And the members of those organizations, for example, our new Vice President, Kamala Harris, is a member of the first ever women's Black Greek organization for women, the sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Senator Warnock, he is a member, and actually I'm a member of the same fraternity, the first ever Black Greek letter organization for men, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And the thing is that he and so many others, Shirley Chisholm, Maya Angelou, Felicia Rashad, Jesse Owens, Thurgood Marshall, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Michael Jordan, they're all part of these organizations. So next month, we're going to be having that. So you're all invited for that. So actually, I think we already dropped the link to that in the chat. So please register now so you don't miss out on anything. Fill out the form for the books. We work in the district. There's some snafus about electronic purchasing. So we're going to get that. We're going to get you guys some slips, and we just expect to get a lot of checks for these books. So, and you can buy more than one, as a matter of fact. You can buy more than one. You can buy several. They make great birthday and holiday presents. Also, we have, we're going to be having that coming up in March. We're going to have Women's Her Story Month. And so we're going to be doing that type of thing. And then finally, this isn't going to be our last book. This is just the beginning. This is the new Chicken Soup for the Soul, people. And now with all of these new chapters, we're going to have themes along with these books. So we have Raise Your Voice, The Stories of Shout. And it's going to be all different people from different chapters all coming together to formulate a book. And this one might be a theme. This month's theme, or this year's theme, might be social justice. Next year's theme might be on algorithm bias. It just might be just something, we don't know, but there's going to be so many different themes behind this. So I just want to let you guys know that you are supporting something that is going to be going on for generations. So I want to thank you. Again, I want you to look at the link in the chat to get the book. And on that note, I'm just grateful for you guys for turning out today. And I just want to say to my students, I am utterly proud of you. I don't have any words. I'm just really just empty right now, because my cup definitely has runneth over until it is spilled totally out. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to turn it back over to, I don't know if anyone has anything to share from the student group, but I'm turning it back over to Mia.
Thank you very much, Dr. Herring. And I think I speak for all of us when we say that we appreciate you very much for helping us get this off the ground, helping them get this off the ground. As Dr. Herring mentioned, earlier this week, we had our Handprints from Home event, and we would just like to share a little video that we put together of some of the handprints that we received. So Thank you all so much for attending tonight. We are going to have a little celebration. If I can pull it up. If you'd like to stay on and celebrate with us, please do. This is a momentous occasion for everybody in Shout. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Turn your cameras back on so we can get a picture.
Yay! Thank you all so much for coming tonight. Have a great evening. Thank you.